usual, the stuff jumps right at you. You don't have to x-ray it.
Yeah.
It's got a big crack in it. So we're going to replace a wire, put a new headstay wire in a pre-existing, well-used Profurl furler. This requires some creativity. I've just removed the wrap stop preventer to gain me some length. And we're going to cut the old wire's head off. We're going to weld the new wire to it and drag the new wire through all the bearings and coils to the other end. We already measured it. Your eye-to-eye length is exactly 50 feet 11 inches. The new wire through, cut off the old wire. I'll be able to put the new Norseman at this end, so exactly 50 feet 11.
Yep.
Voila! So put this back on, and we're done.
So there's a Norseman fitting that we're going to reuse. Here's the new stay.
Pull the wire taut. Let's get a hyper-accurate measurement here of 50 feet 11 inches. Off we go. Hey. Inside the building with that. These bearings can only swallow a 3/8 inch diameter piece of wire. So if the weld blob is bigger than that, it's going to stop.
Aye.
Grab your drum and your horse. We're going to walk the furler out.
So here's my Profurl roller furler for my headstay. I decided to replace the wire. This is a new wire that we just pulled through the roller furler. We did that by welding it onto the old wire and pulling the old wire, which pulled the new wire through. Now we're gonna cut the new wire to the correct length and reattach the old Norseman fittings. Very cool. I'm gonna feel so much more confident knowing that the headstays have been replaced with new wire. Brand new shiny.
This is the Norseman that lives like down here in the furling drum area.
Yeah.
On the bowsprit where all that salt spray is.
Wow.
So you can see it looks a lot more weathered.
Yeah.
But it's fine. This is just white salt and goo. It's
hasn't been
316 stainless.
compromised in any way.
Nope. Clip on some vice grip so I can't accidentally pull the end through. Just a very light grip, just to not to barely bite the end of the wire here. You don't have a lot to work with. So that's our finished length. I don't want to cut it there. That's actually our eye-to-eye length. So I need to actually cut it here because I have so little to work with. So I'm going to have to use the wheel to cut it off. Assemble this end down here after we take it apart and put a new cone in it. Then we can let this slide up till it hits.
Yep.
And that will give me enough room at the other end to do the same.
Wow. Woo!
There's the old wire.
Would you be interested in crewing on that boat? I think they're picking me up here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
How many crew do you have thus far?
We have 6 at the moment.
So I would be 7.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that thing?
This is the wrap stop preventer. Every furler has some way of doing this. Profurl integrates it right onto the furler. You've got a halyard coming out and running down the sail track. Yep. And sometimes as the furler rolls, it'll take the halyard with it.
Aye.
And once it does it even just a little bit, it jams the swivel
Yep.
and then continues to do it. And it'll stop the furler cold.
Wow.
And if you continue to lean on it, you'll actually unlay the wire and stuff.
Wow.
It's the most common malady when a furler jams.
Yep.
It's usually a halyard wrap at the top. So instead of the halyard coming in like this kicks it out at an angle. So as this furler rotates, it can't collect this. So they do it with this device that comes with just a tiny pilot hole, and you bore it to basically 1 drill bit size below your wire size. This is fixed on the wire, which does not rotate. If the halyard tries to wrap, it bumps into this, or the other way, it bumps into that. And actually the swivel has a tang on it. Come on down!
Aye.
This tang overlaps this body. So no matter what sail you put on, when you hoist the sail all the way, this tang prevents the halyard from rotating. You know, this will try to rotate, this then stops, and the furler continues around, and this is independent of the swivel.
That's what this metal is.
That's what
that
that is.
metal hits
Yep,
that and
that's
prevents
that is
this
the sole
from
purpose
turning.
of this tang, exactly.
Wow, now I understand so much more.
If you look up and you see that it's somehow gotten pushed on so hard it's rotated to the side, it's not correct. You should go aloft and fix it.
So that's held in position just by being tightened
Just
on the
pinching
stay.
right on the wire, yeah.
Wow.
You can actually see the grooves of the wire have pressed into the plastic groove. That's why it has to be undersized. These are available if they get damaged. You can get this separately from Profurl.
If that thing did end up spinning on the wire, then it wouldn't be doing its job and the halyard could wrap.
Correct. And if they get twisted hard enough, it'll just wallow that hole out and then it loses its grip on the wire.
Wow.
There's no repair for that. You just have to get a new one, which comes with just a tiny pilot hole in it, and you have to rebore it to the proper diameter. It's got a deep hole in it, so this actually will nestle in over the top. So it just pinches on the wire. It's one of the final things that'll get adjusted at the end. This is your top bearing. That's what the wire spins against. And those are every foil length, every foil joint is about that long, and they spin on that. And the aluminum housing just supports the bearing into the foil. So yeah, this normally lives, kind of encased. Get up in there.
Wow, so that's a turnbuckle for my headstay.
Yeah, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape, just some surface corrosion until you look closer.
Yeah.
If you look carefully here, you can see
Wow, right
a crack.
There's a crack.
That goes right through the lip all the way through. Right there you can see the top of it, so it goes all the way through to the thread side.
Wow.
Cracks. It terminates about right there, but it's right in front of my tip of the blade there. It will continue to propagate. There's no repairing this because it's in the threads.
No. Wow,
That's just
thank God we found that. I can't imagine that breaking in a storm.
That would be bad. And this is why you should at least, the minimum once a year inspect all these things. For the most part, rigging gives you all sorts of distant early warning. Broken strands, cracked swages before they fail. And people are always like, hey, I want a quick, rig inspection. Do you like x-ray this or magnaflux it or use the dye penetrant? All of those things can be done, but they probably cost more than just replacing the rigging. Typically only do that if there's been a failure and an insurance company is looking for, or at the behest of a customer. Now if you have a very big boat with very expensive rigging, it can certainly be more cost effective to do that. But as you saw with that crack, and I've got boxes full of this stuff, I find cracked pieces all the time. The rig is still up. Doesn't mean you can just neglect it and just wait for something to pop, and that happens too, and then you have rig failure. It's pretty rare that something just fails out of the blue because of like a bad part or something in new rigging. It's going to fail because of fatigue and age.
And you didn't.
And
corrosion. It will probably show up.
Exactly. It's pretty much visual. The stuff jumps right at you. You don't have to X-ray it.
Yeah.
It's got a big crack in it. I save most of these cracked parts, like I could save that turnbuckle, for example. I keep it in the box just for doing these.
Just to show people.
Lectures to sailing clubs, or you're a guest speaker at a sailing club. And they're usually astonished. And then when I tell them about, 90% of these parts I found in place. The rig hadn't let go yet. Yeah. I cut it off and repaired it, or replaced it. And they're just like, oh my God. So they're thinking they're looking for some microscopic flaw. It's like they just walk around at worst you just need a handheld magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes. sometimes it could just be a scratch. And you're like, oh, is that a scratch or a crack? You just rub it with some Scotch-Brite, and if it goes away, or you go, oh, okay, no, it's just a scratch. You know, a cotter pin drug it, or somebody slipped with the pliers.
But if it keeps going,
yeah,
and then you get the sandpaper out, and it still keeps going.
And that's where the dye penetrant really will shine. You know, it can show a crack. But this is not like an engine part that's been all like, you know, it's heavily carbonized. It's hard to see. You know, the other thing is magnafluxing, like they do with cylinder heads in an engine, right, or an engine block, where it gets hooked up to a machine and the current gets passed through it, and this powder sticks to any crack, and then that's an expensive process too. And it, you know, these are things that are smaller and can be put in the machine. You know, when you've got, you know, a 55-foot long furler, I just can't drop this off over at the Magnaflux facility. X-raying of rigging is a huge deal.
I can't even imagine.
They bring in equipment. They typically have to close the yard or wait till the yard closes for the night. You have to put a perimeter up because there's X-ray radiation getting spilled. The operator has to have the lead suit on. It's all set up to move each part through the device. Can you imagine what this costs?
No, who does that?
It's private companies. You have to hire them as a subcontractor.
Yeah, but like, no, what kind of boat owner does that?
Well, like the mega yachts that I used to work on in West Palm, when you have a 120-foot sailboat whose turnbuckles are as big as my leg, where a single shroud is thousands of dollars, it can be sometimes worth it to just X-ray it. Say the boat's 10 years old, and the insurance company is saying, well, 10 years old, time to re-rig, and they're saying, well, do I have to re-rig? Can I just get, it looks okay, we haven't sailed that much, but it's extremely rare. I've seen it done once in my entire career. It was a great big mega yacht in West Palm Beach. The bill was staggering. I mean, we put a new mast in your boat for what this guy got for a bill for X-raying his parts. Now, a single piece, like a turnbuckle body, and we wonder if, it's got some failure or something. Mostly, again, it's post-damage, post-failure, and the insurance company wants to say, hey, is this negligence on someone's part? We can send that individual piece in the mail to a lab that can do these things for a fraction of the cost. But, bring an X-ray machine into this gravel-filled boatyard with all these people, it's not done. It's just not done at the level of the 50-foot and smaller boat.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Mark. All right, have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.